Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pizza Metal. Chaos is yours, Dave. I got on the line with me special guest from Aggression from Canada, Dennis. Guitarist, how you doing, Dennis?
Hey Dave, I'm doing great. What about you, man?
I'm good. So how's the weather in Canada?
It's beautiful, man. Like maybe 75 degrees outside right now, and sunny and warm.
Now, a couple hours ago, I just did an interview with Jeff Becerra of Possessed. He said, make sure I send you his love.
Oh well, Jeff, very dear friend of myself and Aggression, so um, I'll make sure that I write him a little note after this interview.
Sounds good. So now, unfortunately, you guys weren't able to make it over the border to come to the Milwaukee, the NYDM Spring Bash. Man, I was looking forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah, there were some problems with our paperwork. Like we play in the states quite often. We play the West Coast like sometimes at least every year, but sometimes twice or three times a year. And uh, we 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 did our paperwork differently this time. We tried something different, and unfortunately, it didn't work for us. So after spending about 8 hours at the border in Washington State, they sent us back home. The border is only like 15 minutes from my house, so it's not a big trek, but it was a big disappointment uh, not to go to the festival, especially and I didn't even care about Aggression's performance. I cared about seeing Hyrax and Seas and all the other bands playing there. I was looking forward to go as a fan more than going as a performer.
And you're in NYDM in Canada, right?
You got that right, buddy.
So all your NYDM brothers and sisters were at that Spring Bash.
Oh yeah, no, I'm well aware of that, and I was looking forward to see Randy Kastner again. We played in Milwaukee before and met him. Great guy, and we probably had at least 100 friends waiting to see us, right, and talk to us and party with us. So we were highly disappointed for sure.
So now for this year, do you have any shows planned at all?
No, right now we're working on the follow up to last year. Feels like punk, sounds like trash. We're hard at work, working on the upcoming record. And we have a new drummer. We have Matt Motter, a local legend, great drummer, who's really helping us transform the Aggression sound into something even more lethal and damaging to the ears. So we're really taking our time to make this record as best as we can, and of course to keep the old Trash Till Death, the torch that we've been carrying for years. But with Matt on drums, I think he has the ability to take Aggression to a higher level of performance.
That sounds awesome, man.
Oh yeah.
So now, do you have anything written for a new album so far yet? Any songs written?
Yeah, we have 15 songs that we working with. Some are written by Dave Watson, the lead guitar player for Aggression, and the other material is some newer material written by me, as well as looking into the very wide Aggression catalog. We do have lots of songs that were recorded back in the day, so we try to take the best of that material and then translate it to 2019. Um, so it's going to be a mix of unreleased songs from the 80s that we will be performing, re-recording, of course, And then some of Dave's compositions and some of the things that I've done. But we're pretty confident that this upcoming album will raise the bar for aggression.
So, in other words, you're saying some of these old songs that you had written years ago that were never released, you're gonna put them onto a record, but make them more, change them up a little bit, more modern.
Yeah, like the old version of aggression, like we were kids, just playing as fast as we can, and I wouldn't say we were near any type of mastery of our instruments, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think like musicians like Dave Watson, guitar player, and Matt on drums, like give us the ability to take the material and even push it even further. Like we had a live cassette that was sold back in the day, and there was a song on there called "Possessed by Dawn," and it was a 11 minute epic journey. Of course, we just bought like Venom at War with Satan, so we thought that every song now needed to be 20 minutes. So anyway, we wrote a song that was about 10, but there was about 6 or 5 minutes of good music out of the 10. So we took out all the crap, and we made a new version with just like a very fast and furious aggression music.
Well, I'm sure it's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah, that one is like 100% the fastest song aggression ever recorded. It's extremely fast.
Now, what year did aggression form?
Well, we formed in 1984 under the name of Asylum, and then in '85 we changed the name to Aggression. So we always say like '85 is when aggression started, but in reality, the real start date of aggression, like if you count as Asylum, was more like I would say Halloween night, 1983 is when me and Byrne, the guitar player at the time, we were in a bar and decided that we were going to play like evil music. So we made the pact, and then it took us a while to find musicians that could play that, like Venom and Slayer and Exciter and Razor and that type of music. So, but eventually we got the right soldiers, and that's when it started. But aggression, like officially with the name Aggression, we officially born in 1985.
So now, currently, how's the metal scene out in Canada?
Well, I'm from Montreal. Like I live in Vancouver now, but Montreal always been like a gigantic hotbed for like metal. Like it's part of the culture at this point. Like with Voivod and Cataclysm and Cryptopsy and Neuraxis and Covatus and Gorgots and
Sacrifice.
There's so many very specific, unique genre metal from Quebec, and it's always been huge. And I'm like since I've been in Vancouver for 20 years now, and Vancouver has a fairly decent also metal scene. There's lots of older bands here that are great, like Witch's Hammer, Carry On, and Odd Script, and Armoros, and Salt. So there was some great metal at the same time as Aggression and Voivod were around, but it was so far back then that we didn't have knowledge of all the amazing music that was part of the Vancouver metal scene.
Now, what part of Canada does Sacrifice come from?
They're from Ontario, so Quebec and Ontario has a natural rivalry because of French, English, and also like hockey, like Maple Leafs and Montreal Canadiens. So, but you know what? Like Aggression used to go out to Toronto many times and visited the guys from Sacrifice and Slaughter. And they became like really good friends of ours. Like when it came to metal, and it was all brotherhood. There was no rivalry or anything like that. First of all, Sacrifice is freaking amazing, and so is Slaughter. So we were just happy that they welcomed us with open arms, and um, like they're still really good friends of ours.
Then you had a band like an Infernal Majesty.
Yeah, well, Infernal Majesty is a funny one because those guys are now living in Vancouver. So I've become really good friends with Chris and Kenny and Steve, and we see each other all the time, and we share like passion for other things beside metal. Like Steve and I, Steve Terror from Infernal Majesty and I are huge like Southern rock fans, but we love the Allman Brothers, and we always talk about Molly Hatchet and Blackfoot, and so. But yeah, we're very close with the guys from Infernal Majesty as well. And my singer Brian used to sing for Infernal Majesty,
Right.
so they're kind of part of our family.
So now, what was the last show you guys played?
The last show we played was in. Like now, it's a trick question. I don't even remember because we didn't play in. Okay, I know. I know now. The last show we played was in Mannheim, Germany, with Brujeria and Venomous Concept and Sangre from California.
Awesome. So how'd that go in Germany?
Like Europe, all over was amazing. The guys from Brujeria and Venomous Concept and Sangre, they treated us like family. We automatically became really good friends. And everybody on that tour was absolutely amazing. Everybody chipped in. Everybody worked together. Only great souvenirs from that tour. The crowds were great. People were like lots of people, and you're on the road, you're in Europe. Things gonna get crazy, right?
Yeah. So now, when Aggression started, when you were just young kids, what bands out there were your biggest influences?
Well, I would say, like, personally for me, always been Venom. Of course, I grew up listening to like Kiss, Ted Nugent, Black Sabbath, and all that. But Venom, when I bought like Venom, Welcome to Hell, something changed. Like I don't know if it gave me like no other records gave me the motivation to like go crazy and just be inappropriate. So I don't know. Like it changed my life. Like Venom, Welcome to Hell. Like Venom was a big influence on me. The other guys in the band were huge Slayer fan, Metallica and Exodus and all that. But for me personally, like my biggest influence, always gonna be Venom.
So who came up with the band name Aggression?
I was our manager at the time, Johnny Hart. Like, because we were called Asylum, and I don't know, like we had a concept of like a bunch of crazy people in a nut house, moshing, and but Johnny had like our marketing idea with the name Aggression and the logo and all that. So we decided to change the name to Aggression. And over the years, it worked really well for us. Now the name is like it's definitely like a cult type of name, but it's becoming a more familiar name now that the band is active again and actively touring and going U.S., Europe, and Canada and everywhere.
So what age did you start playing guitar?
I started playing guitar. I would say 12 years old. There's like, it's funny because like I learned to play guitar to the Ramones. So my cousin was a huge Ramones fan, so he gave me the Road to Ruin album with Go Mental and She's the One, and and it's very easy to play, and it's easy to pick by ear. So maybe that's why I'm not Ingwe Malmsteen or Steve Vai or anybody like that. Like I'm more like a Johnny Ramone type of guitar player. But I learned through the Ramone, but at the same time, I was always intrigued by Ritchie Blackmore and what he did on the In Rock album. So I was trying to pick some of that at the same time. But definitely, around the age of 12, and the Ramones and Deep Purple, it was a weird mix. But this is the two album that I put on my turntable night after night and try to pick up the riff and the solos and things like that.
So you were self-taught, or did you ever take any lessons at all?
I went to one lesson, and the guy was teaching me like some type of like country song, and I was like, no, I'm not. So I'm self-taught. Like I went to one lesson.
So when you were young, what was the first concert you ever went to when you were young?
My first concert was Kiss, like in like 77 or 79, and totally blew my mind. Like Kiss in the 70s were so huge. Like you're not able to touch that. Like the show, the fire, like the visual, like. So I could say that my first show I started with a bang. And after that, like it was all those big bands from the 70s. Like I saw like Cheap Trick and Aerosmith and Ted Nugent and Rush, of course, Triumph, and all those like great. Sometimes like people say like, "Hey, you're an old guy," and I totally agree. But I was able to see Randy Rhoads live. I was able to see Freddie Mercury live. I was able to see a lot of the musicians that are no longer with us play concerts. So I'm happy with where I am with my age.
So how many guitars do you own up to this day?
Like how many guitars that I own, like that I still have, or like through the years?
Now, how many you still have in your collection?
Oh, right now I'm nowhere near Mr. Brian Langley, my singer. He's probably I think he's probably way over 20 by now. But I have like 4 Ibanez Iceman, and I have 2 seven strings Loomis Schecter. I always loved the Iceman, like probably a little bit from Paul Stanley, but also because of Tom Warrior from Celtic Frost, like the way that I just thought the guitar had a great look. But lately I've been playing my 7-string Loomis. I like the neck; it's a bit bigger, and I have bigger hands. So for me, plus it doesn't look like a little ukulele on me, since I'm a pretty big guy, and I don't want to look like like my guitar is too small for me. So the Loomis is a bit bigger, so I think it looks better on me.
So now, what do you consider to be the pros and cons of the music industry?
Well, it's probably like similar to everywhere else. Like big metal concert attracts tons of people. So big festival, big name, big bands. Like you'll see like 20, 30,000 metal fans, and then as soon as a local band plays, there'll be like 7 people there. So there is metalheads in Canada, like tons of them, but sometimes not always there to support the local scene. Even though, like I find Montreal to be a bit better than everywhere else when it comes to local scene. But I did see some local shows in Vancouver drawing quite a bit of people. So I don't want to generalize my comment, but I think that the support for local bands could be better.
Now, out in Canada, do you have any clubs that promoters do pay-to-play shows?
Oh, of course, yeah. So like bands get paid. Sometimes not much. Sometimes decent fees. It all depends on who's playing and what the projection for crowd is. And but like I said, like you see, like in Vancouver, there's a band called Zimmer's Hole, which is basically Strapping Young Lad plus Lord Heaton on vocal. And every time these guys play, it's a sold out show. You'll get 1,000 people, and um, they're drawing just as big as, like if Venom Inc. would come here, like they had a sold out show. Well, so is Zimmer's Hole, right? So there is definitely there's definitely the ability to grow the scene and all that, but like I feel like the promoters are doing what they can to grow the scene, and I think it is slowly growing.
So for you, what's been your favorite tour that you ever done?
The favorite tour?
Favorite tour?
I would say that it's the first one we did right after Aggression got back together. We played the Defenders of the Old Festival in New York City. And then we played Philadelphia, and we played in Raleigh, North Carolina, and played in Lexington, Kentucky, and all kind of crazy places. And I think the ability to tour after all these years, like getting back into the action and being on the road, it's the one that I think I appreciated the most, because I was out there doing it again. So that's the one that stood out for me as a staple, because like it was really the return of Aggression. So that one's special for me.
All right, now since being in the band Aggression, do you have a most funniest moment or embarrassing moment?
I think like one of my like favorite moment is definitely when we played the Montreal Metal Massacre in 2005 with Razor and Anvil and Exciter and Piledriver and DBC and Dead Brain Cells. It was an amazing night. Like so much Canadian metal and so much history. The place was packed. It was in Montreal, and then it was a magical night. And I wish we could do this again. I wish we could have another kind of a festival. Maybe do like Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, something like that, where you could have like Anvil and Exciter and Voivod, and there's so many variation of a festival you could do with Canadian metal bands. But that was an amazing night.
So what's been one of the most funniest times you've had with this band? Like embarrassing or funny, on stage? Anything you ever fought on stage or anything?
Well, I could go. Let me see how truthful I want to be. But I would say that when we had a Canadian tour book, and our tour bus kind of broke down like in BC, and our next show was in Trois-Rivières, Quebec. So we drove like 50 hours straight, and then I had a stroke on stage in Trois-Rivières, Quebec, and I was brought to the hospital. And when I was brought to the hospital, I was on the stretcher, like in the emergency room, and there was like 10 of my friends with me in the room, like jumping on me and throwing stuff at me, and the nurses couldn't get these guys out, and it just tells you like Aggression's entourage and our friends, like how crazy we were. Like you have a guy that almost just died on stage in the emergency room, and you have a bunch of guys making jokes with scalpel, trying to oh, let's open him up. Let's see if he has a heart. Or so Anyway, it was it was just a crazy moment because we were in the hospital and there was like 10 people in my emergency room, like all like drunk and high, throwing shit around. So it was I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, so I'm gonna ask you some fun questions here. What is Sasquatch's favorite food to eat? What do you like to eat?
Uh, I'm a sucker for Italian food, man. Like if I could have like spaghetti Monday, lasagna Tuesday, and like rigatoni Wednesday, and pizza. I don't know. I love Italian food. It's the first thing that I think about eating when I'm hungry. I love Italian food.
So how did you get the nickname Sasquatch?
Well, funny enough, I was adopted, and by the time I was 12, I was like 6 foot tall, and all my all my cousins were like 5'6", 5'7", and they were like, this guy's not related to us. Like he's a freaking Sasquatch. uh, and that's how the name stayed around. Just because I was the tallest guy in the family, like with long, like brown hair and not looking like anything like everybody around me looked different than what I look like, right? So, but they call me the Sasquatch.
All right. So what's your favorite beer?
Dude, any is that an answer? I'll drink any beer, man. Like I love beer. I'm not ashamed to say it. I drink a lot of beer, and I love all of it. Like in Germany, like we had crates of beer given to us like every night, and I drink it all. But I don't have one. I like to vary a bit. Like I like to like for like 2 months I'll drink one. Like, I'll drink like Corona, and then for 2 months after that I'll drink like Stella Artois or some Quebec crazy beer like 9% beer or something like that. So I don't have a specific one, but I like all of it.
All right. So who are your top three favorite bands of a lifetime?
Lifetime favorite bands. I always know what the first one is. I never know what the other two is. Like my favorite band of all time is Van Halen. Always gonna be. Like I saw them in like 1980 for a Women and Children First tour, and they just blew my mind. They had it all, like like crazy, like vocalist, like amazing guitar player, the rhythm section of Doom. So Van Halen definitely number one. Number two would be has to be Venom. I'm not happy with the entire catalog, but I listen to Welcome to Hell and black metal a lot. Like even like like I don't know, it's been released like 40 years ago, but like I still listen to it quite often. And then for third band, I would go with something like probably like Voivod. I listen to a lot of Voivod. I respect these guys a lot. Um, War and Pain is definitely in my top 10 favorite album of all time. And I always been a very close friend with Piggy, and I think he's an underrated, amazing guitar player. And so is Dan Mongrain, the new guitar player they have. But the Voivod definitely a big inspiration for me.
All right. So now, Dennis, if you were able to do time travel and go back in the time, would you do anything differently with your musical career?
What do you mean with my musical career? Well, first of all, I would learn how to tune my guitar. Because some people say it's important. I would probably try to like maybe focus less on girls and more on learning to play guitar. I don't know. I think I was like 50% guitar driven and 50% lady driven. I don't know. I maybe I would try to pay less attention to the ladies and more to learn how to play guitar. It would help me now, like to try to do solos with Dave, the other guitar player in Aggression. But now I let him do like 90% of the work because he's so much better than I'll ever be.
Well, back in the 80s, isn't that how it was? You want to form a band to get the chicks?
Well, like it's funny enough because like a lot of the metal bands back then, like 90% like trash band and death metal band, it was like 90% like boys and like 10% girls. But Aggression, for some odd reason, we always like had a fair amount of ladies at the show. So yeah, maybe I wouldn't change anything in the end. I don't know.
So Aggression, you guys had your fair share of groupies back then, huh?
Uh, well, I would say fair share. I don't know. I don't know, man. It depends on what you compare us to, but we definitely didn't have any problem getting ladies.
All right,
If
now.
that answers your question. Yeah.
So now, after all these years of doing this musical thing, what still keeps you passionate about doing it?
Well, my passion is songwriting, and I always like to. I love the idea of being able to create a piece of music out of the air and then being able to record it and then listen back to it. It's a great feeling. That feeling of creation and that feeling of building something is something that I always enjoyed. And it's also therapeutic, right? Like you go through the process and you release emotion to your music. So for me, it's a necessity. Like I need to do it. So I want to keep releasing like the best music that I can do. I want to keep meeting more metalheads and like the metal community is so special, and every time you meet someone, it becomes a friend, and it's ridiculous the amount of people we know around the globe, and we appreciate everyone out there that enjoys Aggression, but also just people in the metal community that have become friends with us. It's amazing to be able to travel anywhere in the world and be able to like see like faces, and be able to do that. I love that part of being in a band and being a metal fan. It's something that I'll never stop doing.
So who writes all the lyrics for the band?
Well, I do like, I think currently it's me who does like most of the lyrics or all the lyrics. And it's been like that. In the 80s, we used to split it with Butcher at the time and Cactus Pete and some of the other singers. But Brian is so busy. Brian is like in 19 bands at the same time. So I think he's lacking lyrical inspiration. He's too busy with. So he just leaves that to me. And then because I'm French Canadian, when I write in English, I make mistakes, and they think it's funny, and it keeps it more legit, more like trash till death. So I'm doing all the lyrics right now.
So where do you get your inspiration from to write lyrics?
Well, it's always been like horror movies or like any concept involving violence or news or frustration of everyday being alive on this planet. But a lot of it comes from like ideas that are either we read something somewhere, I read something somewhere, or that I'm able to draw something. And like I would love, like I love like the way that Rob Zombies do it. Like he's a musician, but he also makes like horror movies.
Right.
I'd like to have the ability to write like, because I have lots of ideas for crazy horror movies, but I turn them into songs because I would probably suck behind a camera. So what I do is we take these fictional stories and turn them into songs. But a lot of time they're just like ideas that just came from like conversation or drinking too much, and then it turns into like some type of concept, and then we make songs out of that.
Now, as far as the music goes, you guys share writing the music?
Well, I do most of it, but Dave, the other guitar player, is starting to contributing more and more, and um, which is super frustrating for me because he can pick up my songs in like 2 seconds, but it takes me like 2 years to learn one of his riffs, right? So it's more challenging for me because the guy's like a machine on the guitar, but he brings another dimension to our music, which I love. So I hope that Dave will continue to contributing more and more.
Awesome. Now, if people want to follow your band, what's the best way for the Facebook page? Aggression Facebook.
Yeah, Aggression Facebook. We do also have a website, aggression85.com. And yeah, it's easy now, like in the day and age to like find, like we're on Spotify. You can find our music on iTunes, and it's available everywhere. Um, Lots of stuff on YouTube, of course. Sometimes I even find like live footage that I didn't even know that it was filmed. And then you can go and see all the mistakes you made on guitar. But yeah, no, Facebook page. We're very active on Facebook as well as our website.
Awesome. Well, Dennis, I want to thank you for taking time to do this interview.
Dave, no, it's us who thanks you for having interest in aggression and being nice enough to invite us and talk to you.
You're welcome. We'll get you back.
Looking forward to see you in person as well.
We'll get you back on the air again in the future.
Oh yeah.
So now the song Attack of the Ice Lizard, what was that written about?
We were we were staying at some of our friends in Bremerton, Washington, which is like a small town not far from Seattle, and they have every possible pets you can have. Like they have like ferrets and birds and cats, dogs, but no lizard. So I said, like, the only thing this place is missing is some ice lizards, and then we just started to write the song right there on their kitchen table at like 2 in the morning. And that's where the Attack of the Ice Lizards came from, because we were sleeping at their house and we were surrounded by all kind of crazy bats.
Okay, cool. Because I'm gonna end the show with that song right now.
Nice.
Well, Dennis, I want to thank you again. You have any final words or thank yous? Anything good stuff you want to do before we close?
Guys, keep metal alive. Keep rising the torch way high, and it's people like yourself, Dave, that helps the bands like get their name out there. So let's keep growing the scene. Let's keep having more metalheads. That's my final word.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Dennis, and you have an awesome night.
Thank you, bud. You too.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.